Real quick, before we get into this video, I need to address something that broke recently because it connects directly to everything I'm about to show you. Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange in the United States, just told Senate offices this week that they cannot support the latest version of the Clarity Act. This is the second time they've done this. The first time was in January when their CEO, Brian Armstrong, single-handedly caused the Senate Banking Committee to postpone a scheduled vote. Now, why is Coinbase blocking legislation that most crypto holders want passed? Well, it's because the bill restricts stablecoin yield, and Coinbase made 1.35 billion in stablecoin revenue last year. So they're protecting their business model the same way banks are protecting theirs. They're both protecting their incentives. So when I talk about who's standing in the way between XRP and digital currency and the moment that everybody is waiting for, well, it's not just the banks anymore. So keep that in mind as you watch everything that I'm about to show you. Hey, it's Camila Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth. And the CEO of Ripple went on record and said the banks were holding crypto regulation hostage. I'm talking about the man who built XRP said it publicly, that the same institutions who need XRP to solve their most expensive problems were the ones paying lobbyists to slow down the laws that would let them actually use it. If that does not make you angry, or at least deeply curious, I don't know what will. And so today I want to walk you through who has been standing in between XRP and the moment everybody has been waiting for. And I promise you by the end of this, you're going to understand this situation in a way that makes the price action make complete sense. Now, I do want to say nothing I share in this video is meant for financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm here for educational and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own due diligence. Also, like the video if you want to support the page, and then please subscribe if you have not already. Sometimes you may watch the video, but you never get a chance to subscribe. So do that one thing so that you will not miss the next video. All right, so let me start with something that may not ever seem like it's fully explained to you in this space. So banks actually need what XRP does. And this is not speculation. It is just simple math, if you ask me. Right now, money moving across borders is slow, expensive, and frankly embarrassing for an industry that likes to call itself modern. A wire transfer between two banks in different countries can take 3 to 5 business days, and it goes through multiple correspondent banks, and each one takes a cut, each one adding time, each one adding risk. And the Congressional Research Service has estimated that blockchain-based settlement could save U.S. banks alone up to $15 billion a year. That's $15 billion, okay, every single year. And that's just left on the table because the current system is so inefficient. And XRP was built specifically for this problem. It moves value between currencies in seconds, not days. And it does not need a chain of middlemen. It settles directly, and it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which matters enormously right now when a war is in the Middle East and is disrupting payment corridors, and banks in Japan, South Korea, and India are scrambling to settle energy trades through a system that was never built for this kind of pressure. So if XRP solves a $15 billion problem, why are the banks fighting it? Well, because here's the part that they will not advertise. The inefficiency is the product, okay? So every extra day a wire takes, every correspondent bank in the chain, every fee charged for a currency conversion, that is revenue. So that is their business model. The friction is not an accident, it's a feature. And the big banks that sit on top of the chain, they collect on every single transaction that flows through them every day forever. So when a technology comes along that removes the friction, removes the middleman, removes the need to pay your competitor just to move money, the people who profit from that system do not say thank you. They call their lobbyists. And again, I'm talking XRP, but you guys know that I'm talking about the Clarity Act, okay? So now you understand the why. Let me show you the how, okay? Because when powerful institutions want to slow something down without looking like the villain, they do not come out and just say, we don't want to do this. They are much more sophisticated than that. So here's the playbook. And once you see it, you're going to recognize it everywhere. Step 1 is fund the delay. So banks and their lobbyists, they pour money into Washington to make sure the rules stay complicated, vague, and slow to develop. The Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, the bill that would give XRP and other digital assets clear legal status and open the floodgates for banks to officially use them, passed the House with 294 votes to 134. That is not close. That is a landslide. Okay. And yet it's sitting in the Senate stalled while lobbyists argue over details. Now, Brad Garlinghouse came out and said publicly that the White House has sent what he described as an extremely pointed message to the banks dragging their feet. He put the probability of the bill passing before the end of April at 90%, which means the pressure is real, the end is coming, but they are buying every day that they can. Now, step 2 is control the narrative. You fund studies about how crypto is dangerous. You plant stories about money laundering and speculation and volatility. You make sure that every time someone in Congress mentions crypto, someone nearby whispers, but what about the risk? This is not about protecting consumers. It's about protecting market share. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, those same banks are quietly experimenting. BNY Mellon is already custodying Ripple's stablecoin RLUSD. Fidelity is leaning in. JP Morgan runs its own internal blockchain settlement called Onyx. They are not against the technology. They are against losing control of who gets to use it at what price. Now, step 3 is co-opt rather than compete. The most sophisticated version of this playbook is when the incumbents try to build their own version of the technology, a version that they control, that keep them in the middle, that does not actually remove the friction for everyone, just for them. And this is the tension that Ripple's CTO, David Schwartz, has talked about openly. Banks love the rails. They are slower to embrace the open liquidity asset that sits on those rails because an open asset means anyone can use it, anyone can move value on it without asking permission and without paying rent. See, the banks want the efficiency of XRP. They just do not want you to have it too. All right. Now, let me bring the war back into this because it's not separate from everything that we just talked about. It's actually accelerating it. When conflict breaks out and payment corridors get disrupted and banks in multiple countries are scrambling to move money through a system that's already straining, then what happens? Well, the need for neutral, fast, always on settlement rails become impossible to ignore. It's not theoretical anymore. It's urgent. It's real. It's right now. And here's what I want you to understand about timing. The banks cannot hold this back forever. The White House is pushing. The House already voted. Brad Garlinghouse says 90% probability by April. The institutional money is already flowing in, 1.2 billion in XRP ETFs this year alone, even as the price dropped. BNY Mellon, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, they are already positioned. The question is not whether this happens. The question is whether you are going to be in a position when it does. And here's the mindset shift that I want to leave with you. Most people are waiting for certainty to happen before they act. They want the bill to pass. They want the price to move. They want confirmation. And that desire for certainty is completely understandable, but it is also exactly how you end up buying at the top instead of the bottom. The institutions are not waiting for certainty. They are buying the uncertainty because they understand something that most retail investors never figure out. By the time it is certain, the opportunity is already gone. Now, I'm not saying that you should throw everything you have at XRP today. That is not what this is. What I am saying is know what you own, know why you own it, and make sure your position is sized in a way where you can hold through the fight. Because the fight, based on everything we're seeing, is almost over, okay? And respective to how long this has really been transitioning, all right? The banks will resist until they cannot. And when they cannot resist anymore, and I believe that the moment is closer than most people think, the price will eventually reflect a completely different reality than the one that we're living in today. The people who build wealth in moments like this, they're not lucky. They are just early. And right now, you still have the chance to be early. And so I want you to be aware that we are watching institutions fight to control the future of money. And while they fight, there is a window where regular people can position themselves inside of certain accounts and they can accumulate and just get their game plan together. Now, one of the resources that you can use is I Trust Capital. You can get a Roth IRA. And here's why that is important is because when these technologies finally move based on everything we're seeing, and I believe it will, then you will not be giving a significant portion of those gains to taxes because it is inside of a Roth IRA and your growth is tax free. All right. Now, here's what some people also don't realize that with iTrust, you can also hold gold and silver in the same account backed by physical gold and silver. So while the banks are fighting over digital rails, you can hold the asset that has been a store of value for thousands of years, right along with XRP and the other cryptocurrencies that you believe in. You can hold them all in one place. And for those of you all who are more advanced, iTrust also offers staking on assets like Ethereum and Solana inside of your Roth IRA and the premium custody account. And they also have treasury accounts for LLCs and trusts if you are building at that level. Now, this is not a basic platform. This is an institutional grade infrastructure built for people who are serious. And there is a $100 bonus when you fund through my link. The link is in the description. If you're going to hold XRP through this fight, and I believe the fight is almost over, do it the smart way and do not let a tax bill be the thing that takes your gains after you did everything else right. Now, also, I do want to say that there is something that I see constantly in the people who come to me for coaching. And that is that they did their research, they bought their XRP for the right reasons or their cryptocurrency for the right reasons. They understood the thesis and then life happened. Okay, the price dropped, the headlines got scary, the waiting got heavy, and then slowly without realizing it, they started making decisions based on how they felt and not what they knew. Now that gap between what you know and what you do when it gets hard is the most expensive gap in investing. And that is the one that nobody talks about. And so if you're sitting in that gap right now, if you feel the conviction slipping, and if you're not sure whether or not to hold, to exit, to add, and you don't have a game plan and you don't know really what the strategy is to even protect it if you do choose to keep it, okay, through the volatility, then that is exactly the work that I do with people. Yes, we help you to know what to buy, but we also help you to get clear on your thesis, your timeline, your position, and your mindset so that moments like this one feel like opportunity instead of a threat. So my one-on-one clarity calls along with my coaching group, they are open and the link is in the description. Come ready to do the real work because that is what actually changes outcomes. Now, I do want to say this also. Here is where we are, okay? The banks need XRP and these technologies, and they're fighting it anyway. The legislation is closer than it has ever been, and the institutions are already positioning, no matter what they're telling you. And the war in the Middle East, as serious as it is proving in real time exactly why we need neutral, fast, always on payment rails. Now, I've said that before, but I need you to understand this. The fight is real, okay? But so is the thesis. And I believe the thesis win. Now, if this video helped you to see the bigger picture, go ahead and share it. Share it with someone who's confused about why XRP is not moving the way they expected, because sometimes the most valuable thing you can do is give someone a framework for understanding what they're actually in. Now, also go ahead and like the video if it added value and subscribe if you are not already subscribed, because I don't want you to miss a video and you'll always get these notifications. And I just want you to subscribe. And as always, I want you to stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video.